Recently, I've been doing some research to figure out if there's a correlation between wealth and happiness. Specifically, I wanted to ask the question, can having more money make us happier? What I found might give you a new perspective on money and its purpose in your life. Watch this video to learn more. So the research that I've done has been based on a book called Authentic Happiness by Martin Seligman, who is often regarded as the father of positive psychology. In this book, Martin talks about some research that was done on the link between wealth and happiness. The study encompassed interviewing thousands and thousands of people across many different countries, some from very poor countries and some from richer countries with higher purchasing power. Specifically, people will ask this question: on a scale of 1 to 10, how satisfied are you with your life at the moment? So on screen right now, you can see the results of this survey, and at the top here, you can see Bulgaria. Now, Bulgaria is actually the worst on this list in terms of happiness. So people from Bulgaria are basically the unhappiest of all the countries on this list. And on the right here, you can see the spending power. The lower the number, the less power that people from Bulgaria have to spend. And at the bottom here, you can see the richer countries. So here we have people with a much higher purchasing power, and notice how the happiness levels are also much higher. So what do these results actually show? Well, at the lower end of the wealth scale, that's to say those people that are living in places like Bulgaria where they don't have much spare money to spend, the happiness definitely drops off. And there is a correlation between spending power and happiness at the lower end. However, at a certain point, when someone makes on average $8,000 per year, the correlation between happiness and additional wealth drops off. So what this means is once you're barely comfortable, additional income adds little to no happiness at all. And in fact, at the upper ends of wealth, so those that are earning huge amounts of money, for instance, $125 million a year, these people are no happier than those that are earning average amounts of money. So in other words, the Swiss are happier than the Bulgarians, but if you are born in a country where you have significant spending power, where you're not living in poverty, and you don't need extra money to survive, then the correlation between your wealth and your happiness is pretty much non-existent. This has been further backed up by studies that have been done in the US. Over recent years, the average income of the US citizen has tripled, but the happiness levels of the citizens have remained the same. So the question is, why after a certain point of wealth are people not happier? Well, I think there's three important things to consider. Firstly, wealth is subject to the adaptation effect. In my last video, I talked about the hedonistic treadmill. Humans have this kind of set range of happiness where even if really good things happen to us or really bad things happen to us, eventually our happiness tends to reset back to normal. Monetary gain is one of those things that is subject to the adaptation effect. When we earn more money, when we increase our income, it feels great for a short period of time, but then we adjust our baseline and that becomes the new norm. So in the long term, it doesn't produce happiness and fulfillment that lasts. The second thing is the old saying, more money, more problems. Those people that are earning more money tend to be in positions of higher responsibility. Maybe they have more pressure, they're in higher positions in their jobs, and there's more stress and anxiety resting on their shoulders. The final point, which is more speculation than anything, is that once we increase our income and we can take those business class flights and we can go on holiday 3 or 4 times a year, we start to take these things for granted. And we also lose the ability to savor life's small pleasures, savor the little things in life. So of course, there's another important thing to consider here, and that is it really the wealth of these countries that are making people happier? Because generally speaking, the richer countries, those countries that have the greatest purchasing power with their citizens, have other things in common too. Things like a stable political regime, freedom, a nice democracy, good education, good opportunities, good jobs available to people. All these things could potentially also be increasing people's happiness. It's very difficult to pinpoint whether it's wealth that's doing this or some other commonalities amongst the richer countries. So to answer the question, would more money make me happier? Here's what I think the research is saying. If you're coming from a place of poverty, if you are living in a country whereby you don't have enough money to really have the basic provisions in life, more money is going to make you happier. It's worth chasing after that cheese. However, if you're already comfortable and you have enough money such that money isn't an issue for you, such that if you go to the supermarket and you don't have to worry about what food you need to buy because you're worried about how much it costs, if money becomes a non-issue because you have enough of it, then I think you reach a point of diminishing returns. And that's to say that the more money you make after this point, the less of an effect it's going to have on your happiness. In fact, studies really say that beyond a certain level of income, there really is no correlation between additional wealth and happiness. I think once you reach that point in your life, your time is better spent looking at other areas of your life that will bring you happiness rather than chasing after that coin. So if you want to learn more about what makes us happy, I could recommend a good few books for you. One is The Happiness Hypothesis by Jonathan Haidt, and the second is Authentic Happiness by Martin Seligman. Pick those books up, they're great reads. I have a bunch of videos about happiness planned that looks at what we can actually do, scientifically backed ways of manipulating our happiness to make ourselves happier. If you want to be notified when these videos come out, like this video, subscribe to the channel. I hope you found this video useful, and I'll see you next week.